Have you ever stopped to think about what's really inside your medicine cabinet? Not just the prescriptions, but the everyday bottles we reach for without a second thought. I want to tell you a story. Not a complicated medical case, but a human story about a man named Mr. Antonio. He was a 72-year-old grandfather with the most incredible hands I've ever seen, calloused and strong from a lifetime spent tending to his beloved rose garden. He was vibrant, active, and by all accounts, healthy. His story is important because it could easily be your story or the story of someone you love, and it all begins with a simple, familiar choice we make every day. Mr. Antonio's greatest pride was his garden. It was his sanctuary, the place where he connected with the earth and created beauty. But as the years passed, a familiar companion arrived: pain. A sharp, persistent arthritis in his knees began to make it difficult for him to kneel, to prune, to do the very thing that brought him so much joy. The pain wasn't just physical, it was stealing a piece of his identity, threatening to disconnect him from his passion. He faced a choice that millions of people face every single day: live with the pain, or find a way to manage it so he could keep living his life to the fullest. So he did what most of us would do in his situation. He went to the local pharmacy and bought a bottle of harmless pain relievers. An over-the-counter anti-inflammatory, something you can get without a prescription. He started with 1 pill a day, and it worked like a charm. The pain in his knees subsided, and he could once again kneel down to care for his precious roses. Sometimes, on a particularly bad day, he'd take 2. It seemed like a perfect, simple solution. He was back in his garden, feeling like himself again, completely unaware that this small, daily habit was setting the stage for a silent crisis. This routine continued for months, becoming a normal part of his life. The little pill was his ticket back to the garden, a trusted ally against the aches of aging. Then one morning, the unthinkable happened. Mr. Antonio didn't wake up to water his roses. He was rushed to my hospital, clutching his chest, struggling for every breath, experiencing a major cardiac event. His family was in shock, completely bewildered. "But doctor," they pleaded, "he eats so well. He's active in the garden every day. His blood pressure has always been under control." They had done everything they thought was right, following all the conventional rules for a healthy heart. As I stood with his family, reviewing his charts and the emergency scans, their words echoed in my mind. He was, on the surface, a model for healthy aging. He wasn't sedentary, his diet was balanced, and he had no history of uncontrolled hypertension. Yet here he was, in my cardiac unit, fighting for his life. The pieces of the puzzle didn't seem to fit. There had to be a missing element, a hidden factor, that had tipped the scales so dramatically and so suddenly. A question began to form in my mind, a question I now ask you to consider very carefully. What have you overlooked in your own daily health routine? The culprit, the hidden piece of the puzzle, was not his diet or his activity level. It was Mr. Antonio's innocent little pill. The over-the-counter anti-inflammatory he took every single day was a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug, or NSAID. These are medications with names you know very well, names like ibuprofen and diclofenac. They are incredibly effective at relieving pain and reducing inflammation, and for that, they are a modern medical marvel. But for a heart that has been beating faithfully for 7 decades, these seemingly harmless pills can be like a slow, silent poison, creating a dangerous imbalance that the body can no longer easily correct. Let me explain this in a way that makes sense, without any complicated medical jargon. Think of your arteries as a series of flexible garden hoses. For blood to flow easily from your heart to the rest of your body, these hoses need to be open and relaxed. When you take NSAIDs continuously, they can interfere with natural substances in your body that help keep these vessels relaxed. As a result, the hoses begin to tighten and narrow. What happens when you squeeze the end of a running garden hose? The pressure of the water shooting out increases dramatically, right? This is precisely what happens inside your body. When your arteries constrict, your blood pressure rises. Your heart, which acts as the pump for this entire system, is forced to work much harder to push blood through these newly narrowed pathways. It's like trying to push the same amount of water through a much smaller pipe. Day after day, This extra workload puts a tremendous strain on the heart muscle. For a young, resilient heart, the body has ways to compensate for this added stress. But for an older heart, a heart that has already beaten billions of times, this constant elevated pressure can be a relentless burden that slowly wears it down. But the story doesn't end there. These medications have another hidden effect. They can also impact how your kidneys function, specifically their ability to manage salt and water. Normally, your kidneys do a fantastic job of filtering your blood and getting rid of excess sodium and fluid. However, long-term NSAID use can make the kidneys retain more salt than they should, and where salt goes, water follows. This means your body starts holding on to extra fluid, increasing the total volume of blood circulating through your system. Now your heart is facing a double threat. Imagine our garden hose analogy again. Not only is the hose being squeezed, making the pathway narrower, but now you're also trying to force even more water through it. The pressure skyrockets. This combination of constricted blood vessels and increased fluid volume places an immense, unsustainable strain on the entire cardiovascular system. For a senior like Mr. Antonio, whose body has less of a cushion or reserve capacity to handle such changes, this overload was the trigger. It was the final push that turned a stable situation into a full-blown cardiac emergency, all from a pill he believed was perfectly safe. You see, what happened to Mr. Antonio isn't a rare one-in-a-million event. Studies have shown that long-term, daily use of NSAIDs can increase the risk of a major cardiovascular event by a staggering amount, sometimes by more than 30%. Think about that for a moment. That's not a small number. It's a significant, measurable danger hiding in a bottle we've been taught to trust implicitly. For millions of seniors who rely on these pills to manage chronic pain from conditions like arthritis, this isn't just a statistic. It's a daily roll of the dice with their heart health, and most of them have no idea they are even playing the game. Let's go back to our garden hose. The tightening of the arteries, or vasoconstriction, happens because NSAIDs block the production of certain natural chemicals called prostaglandins. Some of these prostaglandins are responsible for pain and inflammation, which is why the pills work so well. But others have a crucial protective job. They help keep blood vessels relaxed and open. When you take an NSAID, you block both the bad and the good prostaglandins. It's like trying to get rid of weeds in a garden with a chemical that also harms the beautiful roses. You solve one problem, but inadvertently create a much more dangerous one. This effect on blood pressure is often silent. You don't feel your arteries tightening. You don't feel your heart starting to pump harder. It happens quietly, day by day, a gradual increase in pressure that your body tries its best to adapt to. I once had a patient, a wonderful woman named Eleanor, who took ibuprofen for her back pain. Her blood pressure, which was always perfectly controlled with medication, started to creep up. Her doctor increased her dose, but it didn't help. No one thought to ask about her over-the-counter painkiller, which was actively working against the very medicine meant to protect her heart. Now let's talk more about the kidneys, the unsung heroes of your body's fluid management system. They are like a sophisticated dam, constantly adjusting to let just the right amount of water and salt flow out while keeping what your body needs. The same prostaglandins that help relax your blood vessels also play a vital role in telling the kidneys to excrete sodium. When NSAIDs block these signals, the dam effectively closes a bit more than it should. Salt is retained, and as we know, water follows salt. This is why one of the subtle side effects of these drugs can be swelling in the ankles and feet. This fluid retention creates a problem of volume. Your circulatory system is a closed loop, and it's designed to handle a specific amount of blood. When you start adding extra fluid to that system, the total volume increases. Your heart, already working harder to push blood through narrowed vessels, is now forced to pump a larger volume of fluid with every single beat. It's a classic case of being asked to do more work with less efficient tools. For a heart that has been faithfully serving you for decades, this double burden can be the very thing that pushes it past its breaking point. Consider the numbers. It's estimated that NSAID use contributes to thousands of hospitalizations for heart failure each year. These are not just statistics, they are people. They are grandparents who wanted to play with their grandchildren, neighbors who just wanted to walk their dog without a limp, individuals like Mr. Antonio who simply wanted to tend their garden. They reached for a common, trusted remedy for their pain, never imagining it could lead them to a cardiac ICU. The story is tragically common, yet the public awareness of this specific risk remains dangerously low. The problem is compounded by a simple misunderstanding. We see these medications on the shelves of every pharmacy and grocery store, right next to vitamins and bandages. This placement creates a powerful psychological suggestion of safety. We think, if it were truly dangerous, I wouldn't be able to buy it so easily without a doctor's permission. This assumption, while understandable, is a critical error in judgment, especially for older adults. The rules of safety that apply to a 40-year-old body are vastly different from the ones that apply to a 70-year-old body, which has far less room for error. Let me introduce you to the concept of physiologic reserve. A young person's body is full of it. Their organs have a built-in cushion or backup capacity to handle stress, whether it's from an illness, an injury, or a medication side effect. As we age, that reserve naturally diminishes. Our kidneys are a little less efficient, our arteries are a bit stiffer, and our heart muscle has less flexibility. We're still healthy, but our system is operating closer to its maximum capacity. That's why a drug that causes a small, manageable strain in a younger person can cause a catastrophic failure in an older one. Think of it like an old, beloved car. When it was new, you could drive it hard, and it would bounce back. But after decades and hundreds of thousands of miles, you have to be more gentle. The engine can't handle being revved into the red zone, and the suspension can't take bumps the way it used to. Your body is the same. The daily, low-grade stress from an NSAID is like constantly revving that older engine. For a while it might seem fine, but you are causing cumulative wear and tear that will inevitably lead to a breakdown. This is especially true for individuals who already have underlying conditions. If you already have high blood pressure, for example, your heart is already working harder than it should. Taking an NSAID is like adding weight to the backpack of a hiker who is already struggling up a steep hill. The same goes for those with known kidney issues or a history of heart disease. For these individuals, the risk isn't just theoretical. It's immediate and profoundly serious. The innocent pill is no longer just a risk factor. It becomes an active antagonist to their health. And what about those of us who take medication to control our blood pressure? Here's another hidden danger. Many of the most common blood pressure medications like ACE inhibitors and ARBs work by helping to relax those blood vessels. NSAIDs, as we've discussed, do the exact opposite. They can directly interfere with and reduce the effectiveness of your prescription heart medication. You might be diligently taking your prescribed pill every morning, believing you are protected, while your over-the-counter pain reliever is silently undoing all that good work, leaving your heart exposed and vulnerable. Let's imagine a patient I'll call David. A 68-year-old man with well-managed hypertension. He started taking diclofenac for a shoulder injury. He felt great, his shoulder pain was gone, but at his next checkup, his blood pressure was through the roof. He and his doctor were baffled. They adjusted his prescription, but nothing seemed to work. It was only when he happened to mention the, quote, gel he was using for his shoulder that we found the culprit. Even topical NSAIDs, which are absorbed through the skin, can enter the bloodstream and cause these exact same systemic problems in vulnerable individuals. The marketing of these drugs often emphasizes speed and power. Tough on pain, the ads say. They show people running, jumping, and living life to the fullest, all thanks to this one little pill. What they don't show is the quiet, internal struggle that can be happening inside the cardiovascular system. They don't show the kidney struggling to manage fluid, or the heart muscle straining against increased pressure. The focus is entirely on the immediate, tangible benefit of pain relief, which completely overshadows the slow, invisible, and potentially lethal risks that accumulate over time. So how can you know if this is happening to you? The signs can be incredibly subtle, often mistaken for normal parts of aging. One of the first things you might notice is slight swelling or edema in your lower legs, ankles, and feet. Your shoes might feel tighter at the end of the day, or you might see an indentation from your socks that lingers longer than usual. This is a direct result of your kidneys retaining that extra salt and water. It's your body's way of showing you that the fluid balance is off. Another early warning sign can be a sudden, unexplained weight gain of a few pounds over just a day or two. This isn't fat, it's water weight. It's that excess fluid building up in your system because the kidneys aren't able to get rid of it efficiently. You might also feel a bit more breathless than usual when you climb a flight of stairs or carry in the groceries. This is your heart and lungs working harder to circulate the increased volume of blood through your body. It's a quiet whisper from your cardiovascular system that it is under strain. Many people dismiss these symptoms. They think, I'm just getting older, or I must have just overdone it yesterday. This is perhaps the most dangerous part of the entire process. The symptoms are so non-specific that they are easy to ignore until they become severe. That shortness of breath can progress until you can't lie flat in bed without feeling like you're drowning. That slight swelling can become so pronounced that it's difficult to walk. These aren't just signs of aging. They are the classic signs of developing heart failure. I remember a patient, a lovely grandmother, who came to see me because she was so tired she could barely get through her day. She blamed it on poor sleep and the stress of family life. Her doctor had run basic tests, and everything looked normal. It was only during a very detailed conversation that she mentioned taking ibuprofen, like clockwork, 3 times a day for her arthritis. We made a change to her pain management plan, and within 2 weeks, her energy returned. Her body had been in a constant, low-grade state of fluid overload, and her heart was simply exhausted. This is why the conversation about what's in your medicine cabinet is so critical. It's not just about the prescription medications your doctor knows about. It's about everything. The vitamins, the supplements, and especially the over-the-counter drugs you take without a second thought. These are the missing pieces of the puzzle that can explain why your blood pressure isn't under control, or why you're feeling so fatigued. Without this complete picture, we as doctors are working with incomplete information, trying to solve a mystery with crucial clues hidden from our view. The pharmaceutical industry has created a perception of us versus them. There are real prescription drugs that are powerful and require a doctor's oversight, and then there are the safe, over-the-counter drugs that anyone can manage on their own. This is a false and dangerous dichotomy. A drug's mechanism of action, its effect on your body, doesn't change just because you don't need a prescription to buy it. Ibuprofen affects your prostaglandins and kidneys the same way, whether you get it from a doctor or from a shelf at the supermarket. The responsibility, therefore, falls on us to bridge this information gap. It's about shifting our mindset from seeing these pills as a simple consumer product to seeing them as what they are: powerful chemical compounds that demand respect and careful consideration. It's about understanding that self-medicating for a chronic, long-term problem with a daily NSAID is a fundamentally different and more dangerous proposition than taking one occasionally for a headache. The dose and, more importantly, the duration of use changes everything. Now, hearing all this, you might feel a sense of fear or confusion, and that is completely understandable. You might be thinking, what am I supposed to do? I can't live with this pain. Please hear me when I say this. My goal is not to scare you into inaction or to tell you that you must simply endure your suffering. Pain is real. It is debilitating, and it deserves to be treated effectively and safely. My message is one of empowerment, not fear. It's a call to take a more active, conscious role in your own healthcare. The first step is simple, yet it's the most powerful one you can take. It's the act of starting a conversation. It's about gathering up every single bottle, not just the prescriptions but everything, putting them in a bag, and taking them to your next doctor's appointment. This simple act of show and tell can be life-saving. It allows your doctor to see the full picture, to connect the dots they didn't even know existed, and to identify these hidden risks before they become a full-blown crisis, like Mr. Antonio's. This conversation is not about judgment. No good doctor will ever scold you for trying to manage your own pain. We understand why you did it. The conversation is about partnership. It's about saying, this is what I've been doing to cope. Now, knowing the risks to my heart, let's work together to find a better, safer way. This transforms the dynamic from one of passive instruction to active collaboration, where you and your doctor are a team with a shared goal, keeping you healthy, active, and safe. There are many other ways to manage chronic pain. For some people, a different class of pain reliever, like acetaminophen, might be a much safer first choice, as it doesn't carry the same cardiovascular risks. For others, physical therapy, targeted exercises, heat or cold therapy, or even lifestyle modifications can make a world of difference, reducing the need for medication altogether. The key is that these alternatives are often overlooked when a seemingly simple pill offers such quick relief, but they may be the key to long-term health. Let's think about Mr. Antonio again. After his recovery, we worked with him and a physical therapist. He started doing specific strengthening exercises for the muscles around his knees. He learned to use a supportive knee brace when he was working in his garden for long periods. He switched his primary painkiller to a safer alternative for his heart, using an NSAID only very rarely, for a day or two at most, when the pain was exceptionally bad. He found a new way to manage his pain that didn't put his life at risk. This proactive approach is the heart of modern medicine. It's not just about reacting to a crisis when it happens, it's about preventing the crisis in the first place. It's about looking at the whole person, understanding all the factors at play, and creating a personalized plan that honors their goals and protects their future. Your goal might be to garden like Mr. Antonio, or it might be to travel, to dance at your granddaughter's wedding, or simply to enjoy a quiet life without pain. Whatever your goal, it is achievable without gambling with your heart. The truth is, your body has been telling your life story for a very long time. Every scar, every laugh line, and every heartbeat is a part of that narrative. As we get older, that story becomes more complex. The systems that have worked flawlessly for decades begin to require a bit more care and attention. Our job isn't to fight against this process, but to listen more carefully to what our bodies are telling us, and to respond with wisdom and respect for the incredible journey they have taken. So I ask you to look at your own medicine cabinet tonight. Don't just see bottles, see them as choices. Each one represents a decision you are making about your health. Are those choices being made with the full picture in mind? Are they protecting not just your joints or your head, but the magnificent tireless engine in your chest that has powered your every moment? It's a question that deserves a thoughtful answer, because your future chapters depend on it. This is why understanding these risks is not about creating fear. My purpose is not to tell you that you must simply learn to live with debilitating pain. Not at all. Pain is a thief that can steal the joy from your life, preventing you from engaging in the activities you love, from connecting with the people who matter most. My message is one of hope and empowerment. It's a call to action, not a warning to retreat. It's about arming you with the knowledge you need to make safer, more informed choices, so you can manage your pain without unknowingly putting your heart in jeopardy. You deserve a life free from pain, but you also deserve a future. You can start making a change today with one simple but profoundly important step: transparency. The next time you visit your doctor, I want you to perform an act. One call the brown bag review. Gather every single bottle from your medicine cabinet and your nightstand. I mean everything. Your prescriptions, the daily aspirin, the vitamins you take, the herbal supplements, and especially that bottle of over-the-counter pain reliever you've been relying on. Put them all in a bag and place it on the exam table. This simple act can be the most important thing you do for your heart health this year. This show and tell is not just for your doctor's curiosity. It is a life-saving diagnostic tool. It provides the complete picture, the full context of what is happening inside your body. It connects the dots between the symptoms you're experiencing, like rising blood pressure or new fatigue, and the potential causes that might otherwise go unnoticed. For us, as doctors, this information is like turning on a light in a dark room. It allows us to see the hidden interactions and risks, transforming a medical mystery into a clear path forward for your care and safety. Your health story is complex, and we need all the pages to read it correctly. This conversation is built on a foundation of partnership, not judgment. A good physician will never make you feel ashamed for taking a medication you believed was safe. We understand that you are simply trying to feel better, to regain your quality of life. The purpose of this dialogue is to work together as a team. It's about you saying, "This is what I've been doing to cope, now let's find a better way." It shifts you from being a passive recipient of care to an active, engaged partner in your own health, making decisions with your doctor that align with your long-term well-being. The wonderful news is that there are many safer alternatives for managing chronic pain. For many types of pain, especially from arthritis, acetaminophen can be a very effective and much safer first-line option, as it works through different pathways that do not affect your heart or kidneys in the same way. Physical therapy can work wonders, strengthening the muscles that support your joints and improving your range of motion. Other strategies, like applying heat or cold, using supportive braces, or making gentle modifications to your activities, can significantly reduce your reliance on pills and give you back control. Let's return to Mr. Antonio's story. After he recovered from his cardiac event, we created a new plan for him. He began working with a physical therapist to build strength around his knees. He learned to use a high-quality knee brace when spending long hours in his garden. We switched his daily pain medication to a safer alternative for his heart. He now uses an NSAID very rarely, perhaps for a single day if he has a particularly severe flare-up. He is back among his roses, his hands in the soil, living his passion fully, but now he does it with a plan that protects his heart. This proactive approach is the essence of true healthcare. It is not about waiting for a disaster to strike and then trying to manage the aftermath. It is about foresight. It is about looking at the whole person, understanding their life, their goals, and all the factors that contribute to their health. It's about creating a personalized, sustainable plan that prevents the crisis from ever happening. Your goal might be to tend a garden, to travel the world, or to dance at a wedding. Whatever it is, you deserve to pursue it without unknowingly gambling with the very organ that makes it all possible. Think of your body as the keeper of your life story. Every beat of your heart is a word on a page, a testament to the journey you have traveled. As we grow older, that story becomes richer and more complex. The systems that have served us so faithfully for decades begin to ask for a bit more attention, a bit more gentle care. Our job is not to fight this beautiful, natural process, but to learn to listen more intently to our bodies and respond with the wisdom and respect that a lifetime of experience deserves. So I ask you to do something for me and for yourself tonight. Go to your medicine cabinet. Look at the bottles, not as simple remedies, but as choices you are making every single day. Ask yourself if those choices are being made with all the information. Are they protecting not only your aching joints, but also the magnificent, tireless engine in your chest that has powered every single moment of your life? This is a question worthy of your deepest consideration, because the next chapters of your story depend entirely on your answer. Your heart has been faithfully writing your life story for decades. It's time we listen carefully to what it needs from us now, so we can help it write many more beautiful chapters. This is not about fear. It is about respect for your own journey. It's about making conscious choices that honor the life you have lived and protect the life you still have to live. Don't ignore the signs. Your future depends on the choices you make right now. Please, take care of yourself.